Hey you guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about the path to becoming just an artist. You know, in the art field there are many different disciplines and many different ways that we can become successful in the art field. You know, you don't necessarily have to know how to draw to be able to be successful in the art field. You know, I've met quite a few people that are in the design field and graphic design and 3D that can't draw their way out of a box. However, what they've learned to do is to see their world in such a way that they can, transfer that information over to whatever medium that they're using at the time. So today, I got an interesting contact from somebody over the past couple days in reference to some tips and tricks that I might be able to bequeath to them to be able to learn how to draw a little bit better. You know, it takes a lifetime to learn how to see. And I say how to see because, I've said this before, we live in a three-dimensional world. We're drawing on a two-dimensional surface to look three-dimensional. So a lot of times there's a disconnect, and it's that repetition, it's that training, it's that learning how to see in such a way that I think directs you in the way that you need to go in terms of being able to draw. So today I'm going to start kind of a new little weekly one-take vlog. Of course, this is the intro, so it's going to be probably a little bit longer, but I want to do a 5-minute art tip, something that I use on a daily basis, if not every single time that I draw, that kind of gives you an insight into the methodology of creating images such as you see in the background. These particular methods have been honed over years and years of practice. Obviously, the first time you try them, you're not going to have a lot of success at them. But just like I tell people whenever I teach, I say, drawing is a skill, whereas creativity is something that, we all have, just at different degrees. Being able to draw something from life is something that I think a lot of us can do, because it has to again to do with the way that we see the world. So today we're going to learn a little bit about shape. Okay, so I've got roughly 5 minutes to bequeath to you some type of knowledge that you can use on a daily basis. Now, what I usually do whenever I start out is a lot of times I'll start doing, shapes. I'll start doing circles. And the thing is with this is it looks very rudimentary and very plain. However, you have to recognize that what I just did is significant. So all the circles are the same shape, all the circles are the same distance from each other, and all the circles are parallel and vertically equal. And what that shows is basically a knowledge of spatial understanding on the paper. So just the fact that, I can draw a circle that even looks like a circle. I see a lot of people that basically start out like this, and they're doing this, and they're using their wrist a lot. and to me, that kind of defeats the purpose, because what you're doing is you're concentrating so much on the perfection of the line that you don't get the overall gesture and the circle. So what I like to do is I like to say lock your wrist and basically use your whole arm. Okay, if we're doing this, you're missing the point of this. Whenever you see animators and you see illustrators draw, a lot of time they'll lock their wrist, and you see people that'll, they'll basically be drawing with their whole arm. And what that does is it gives you control over stroke. Okay. Now, whenever I'm warming up a lot of times, I'll do lines. Okay. And again, if you look at these, I'm doing basically the same length, same distance apart, and same pressure. Now, on paper, obviously, you have a tooth, but on computers, you have to rely upon the stylus and the drivers that dictate how hard and how soft you dictate how hard and soft. But on paper, you can kind of dictate how thin of a line you have, and if you want to have a harder line, then you press harder. Now, whenever I start dealing with the understanding of shapes, I always have my students draw shapes. So this past week, since it is a new semester, I'm having them understand what circles are. Circles in our world comprise and put together actually build the the objects of our world, from the wheels of cars to the heads. If I were to draw a head, typically what do? I start out with a circle. So what you need to understand is that circles are there to help you. So what I do a lot of times is I'll sit there and I have them draw circles. Some of them will do this, some of them will do this, because they don't understand the concept of shape. Circle, 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 and I keep telling them circle, draw circles, small circles. Draw circles in ascending size. And what that basically teaches you is stroke, okay? Stroke is something that artists use to show, without any shading or without any perspective, it helps them show form. So, what I want people to do, what I want you guys to do, okay, is go home tonight or sit down after this video, and I want you to draw circles. I want you to sit down with a nice clean sheet of paper, and I want you to draw circles. Don't sit there and use your wrist. Don't sit there and concentrate on the lines so much. I want you to draw a circle. I want you to be as free as you can. And then, once you are free as you can, you feel pretty comfortable about doing your circles, I want you to kind of do different sizes. Again, if you look at this page looks really simple. Oh, I can do that. I can do that. I say, Mr. Mike, but I can do that, Mike. But the plain fact is I did that in less than 5 to 7 seconds. And again, we have from smaller, medium, larger, larger, and they're all circles. They're all spaced. Now, whenever I start going into overlapping and ascending in size and understanding that spatial relationship. So we still have same size, not same size circles, but ascending size. They're overlapping just slightly. And if you look, I have the basic same distance between these on each one. So, circles. Go draw some circles, okay? We'll get into squares and we'll get into triangles. We'll get into rectangles. And then once we have established these, this understanding that we know these shapes, then we'll move on to the wonderful world of form. Oh my goodness, form. Form's gonna blow your mind, okay? Because form, of course, is height, width, and depth, okay? That's the world that we know. Whenever we're drawing shapes like this, okay, you have to get these basics down before you move into form. Because form has you use your spatial understanding of your world to understand there is a backside over here, okay? I'm drawing this, but there is a backside, and I need to understand the thickness of the object that I'm drawing. It is sounding a little bit confusing, but over time, it is a natural progression of thought pattern from going from this basic shape over to, I start out with this basic shape of, let's say, a circle, and then, if I have a light hitting here, and then I basically draw the shadow here to create form, and then the shadow comes here, okay? And understanding that there is a right side, a left side of the circle, a top, a bottom, but then I have to understand, even if this thing isn't transparent, there is a backside. There is a backside to this circle, okay? And it's sitting on a table, okay? And whenever you think in terms of a face, the same thing happens, See how I drew the circle first? Okay? There's a backside to this head. This neck, whenever the light, the light hits it from, let's say, right here, the light's bright, and then you have the shadow that starts here, and then you have a secondary highlight over here. So what I'm trying to say is form is a little bit different, but I want you guys to go home. I want you to draw shapes. I want you to draw as many shapes of circles as you can. Check your distance. Do ascending shapes from small to large. Check your distance. Do as many as you can. Make it a game. I also have students, do exercises where they create different things from shapes. Oh, Mr. Mike, I can do flowers all day long. Yes, but how creative can you get by only using circles? So anyway, that's the 5-minute art tip. We went to about 6.5 minutes because I did have the intro. So thank you guys again for liking and subscribing, and I look forward to passing on some more knowledge, and we'll see you next time.